I said to Qin Ranxue with a look of disdain. Qin Ranxue said to me with envy, Zhang Yuan, I'm really hungry. Why do you say that Chen Fei Gang is such a loser? He doesn't eat it for me, why feed the dogs? I don't know if I'm hungry. Me. Qin Ranxue is really okay, she actually wants to eat a dog's vinegar in order to eat. We waited for a long time, and that bastard didn't leave Chen Fei Gang. That's a bit of a hassle. With him here, I didn't dare to go up and clean up the money and steal, otherwise I would be the one who was cleaned up at that time. Damn, I can't stand it. I'll help you find someone to help with him, that bastard is certainly no match for him. Qin Ranxue was really hungry and couldn't stand it, so after she finished speaking, she took out her mobile phone and started calling. Chao Kong, where are you now? I have something here that I need your help with. Drink your mother's head. Chao Kong, let me tell you, if you dare not come, I won't help you chase Li Jai, and then you can figure it out yourself. Listening to Qin Ranxue calling, I kept thinking about who this person named Chao Kong could be. He really messed with that bastard? Well, I'll send you the address, you hurry up. If you can't do this, then you're going to be a bachelor for the rest of your life. After Qin Ranxue finished speaking, she sent him the address. When she finished posting, she smiled and made an okay gesture to me. I couldn't help asking, who is this Chao Kong? He really got that bastard. You can put 10,000 hearts. Chao Kong is a former friend of mine. He used to be the boss of the sports academy, but he was also sentenced to 3 years in prison for going out to fight with someone in his sophomore year and beating a man into a vegetative state. It was only released last year. He's definitely going to win the fight against that bastard, you don't have to worry about that. Qin Ranxue said to me. I'll go, this Chao Kong is really a hard stubble. I kept looking at Chen Fei Gang, afraid that he would go back before Chao Kong came. If he had returned, he probably wouldn't have been out tonight. If you want to clean him up, you'll have to wait until tomorrow. But Chen Fei Gang and they had no intention of leaving, and they kept sitting at the barbecue stall over there. After waiting for about half an hour, Chao Kong came on a small electric donkey. He should be about the same height as me, about 1 meter 7 or 8 tall, and he wears a helmet on his head. However, he has a very strong physique, and he has tendons and flesh, which should be quite powerful. Qin Ranxue looked at Chao Kong, who came down from the little electric donkey, with a dissatisfied expression, and said, Why did you come? I don't think you want to chase Li Jai anymore. I'll go, you think I'm flying a plane, it's good to be here in half an hour. Say, let me help you do something, and after helping you do it, Lao Tzu will continue to go back to drinking. Obviously, Chao Kong is also a short-tempered person, the kind that explodes at one point. This is also my friend Zhang Yuan. The two people who were eating barbecue opposite saw it. Zhang Yuan has a grudge with the one who led the dog, and the most tricky thing is the other person. I want you to help him clean up that man. Qin Ranxue pointed to Chen Fei Gang over there and said to Chao Kong. Chao Kong glanced at me, then turned his head and looked at Chen Fei Gang. He glanced at the bastard, and immediately squinted his eyes and said, That fool is not Zhao Fangang, the younger brother of Zhao Bald? I remember that after Zhao Bald was arrested, Zhao Fangyuan's fool disappeared. How could he appear here? Obviously, I definitely don't know the Zhao Bald man in his mouth. Chao Kong saw the question on my face, and he immediately explained, Zhao Bald used to be the owner of the Shengshur bar outside our school, because in a large-scale police spot check, it was found that Shengshur was doing meat business. Zhao Bald was immediately arrested and sentenced, but Zhao Fangyuan, a fool, ran away. I didn't expect him to dare to come back now. I nodded, knowing what was going on. I don't want to know this, Chao Kong, just say that you can help Zhang Yuan or not. Qin Ranxue said to Chao Kong with an impatient expression. Chao Kong glared at her dissatisfied, and then looked at me, Dude, I can help you this time, and afterwards you can buy me a soft Chinese and give me even if I get the reward for my shot, okay? I'll go, Chao Kong, I ask you for help, you still dare to ask for payment, I think you really don't want to chase Li Jai, right? Qin Ranxue said to Chao Kong with an angry face. Chao Kong ignored him, but looked at me a little embarrassed. Dude, it's not that I want you to be a soft China, Chao Kong, am not such a tasteless person. It's just that I've been short on money lately, so I'm almost out of smoke. I smiled and understood, it's okay, as long as you help me this time, I'll buy it for you if you don't smoke in the future. It's not that I'm so stupid that I'm willing to pay for nothing. I've been with Uncle Hua for so long, and I've learned some skills to recognize people. Chow Kong is a very upright person, not pretentious. I am willing to make friends with him. It's just that I didn't expect that Chow Kong would become my brother for Zhang Yuan for the rest of his life, and together he created our brilliant life. Dude, this busy brother has helped you. Chow Kong smiled and patted me on the shoulder, and then walked towards Qian Fei Gong with me. I don't know why, I feel particularly secure behind Chow Kong, maybe because he himself has a kind of social ruffianism, the same as Zhao Fangyuan. When we passed, Qian Fei Gong naturally saw us, and he immediately stood up. And Zhao Fangyuan also put down the beer bottle in his hand, stood up with a gloomy expression and stood in front of Qian Fei Gong. Yo he, you bedbug haven't been enough for me, you dare to come to Lao Tzu. By the way, bedbug, you still like that gift I gave you, don't you hate that bitch now? Ha ha. Qian Fei Gong said to me with a rampant face. You're a bitch, your whole family is a bitch. Xin Ranxue immediately scolded Qian Fei Gong. And I looked at Qian Fei Gong fiercely, and directly took out the baseball bat in my clothes. Sanbai, you wanted criminals still dare to return to Rongqing, you are not afraid of the strip catching you in and letting you drink tea with Zhao Bolzi. Chow Kong looked at Zhao Fangyuan, who was standing in front of Qian Fei Gong, with a playful look on his face. Zhao Fangyuan took out a cigarette and lit it and took a puff. He looked at Chow Kong seriously, and then said with a smile, "Who the am I? It turns out to be you, brat. What's the matter? After being released from prison, you start screaming again? Don't talk nonsense to him, just them for me. I'm responsible for what happened." Qian Fei Gong looked at us with a gloomy face and said to Zhao Fangyuan, "Yo, bragging. Are you responsible? What can you do? I hate you bragging the most. Three cakes, why are you going back more and more? Why are you following this kind of fool who is rich and forced to make money?" Chow Kong said with a look of despise on Qian Fei Gong's playful look. Sanwan smoked a cigarette and spit smoke in his mouth. "No way, I'm just taking money to do things. Boy, I let you run away last time, and this time I must unload one of your legs." Looking at the three cakes, an angry expression appeared directly on my face. "You can try it. And you idiot, I won't let you go tonight." Sanbai frowned and threw the cigarette butt to the ground. "Fuck you, little bastard, I really think I'm a character." With that, he jerked the table next to him and threw it at me. Chow Kong also moved at this time, and he kicked the table that was flying towards me with a single kick. The people around us who were eating barbecue saw us start and immediately spread to the side. The owner of the barbecue restaurant also hurriedly hid to the side. "Three cakes, your fucking opponent is me, don't find the wrong person." Chow Kong shouted, grabbed a wooden stool and smashed it at the three cakes. The three cakes hurriedly dodged to the side, and the stool that Chow Kong smashed down directly smashed into the air. And the three cakes kicked Chow Kang's lower abdomen violently, and Chow Kong took the stool with a fierce face and smashed the foot kicked at the three cakes. With one hit, Sanbai immediately retracted his feet, with a painful expression on his face. "Three cakes, your combat power is not good." Chow Kong sneered at the three cakes, and slammed the stool at the three cakes again. I was stunned when I looked directly at it from the side. This Chow Kang's combat power is really not covered, and it can be so easy to fight with three cakes, it's really fucking awesome. At this time, Xin Ranxue shouted to me, "Zhang Yuan, you go and clean up the money and the steel." As soon as Xin Ranxue shouted at me, he immediately looked at Qian Fei Gong angrily. He looked at the baseball bat I was holding tightly in my hand, and immediately shouted in fright, "Three cakes, don't worry about that bastard, hurry up and save Lao Tzu." Qian Fei Gong shouted three cakes like a dog, and he didn't have any respect for the old bastard of three cakes. But also, the current three cakes are still wanted by the police. What is it if it is not a stray dog? But at this time, the three cakes and Chow Kong were evenly matched. They were high and low, offensive and defensive, and they had fought more than a dozen rounds with fists and fists, and he couldn't help Qian Fei Gong at all. I have to say that this Chow Kong is really violent. Every time he rushes to the three cakes, and all the barbecue tables around them are knocked to the ground by them. Thinking about it, Chow Kong is also an expert in fighting a lot, otherwise he would not have been able to fight with an old bastard like Sanbao for so long. But Sanbai obviously doesn't eat dry rice either, he's really powerful. In the face of Chow Kang's every attack, he defused it with ease. and then attacked Chao Kong with a more fierce attack. But no matter how stalemate the battle is on their side, the three cakes will definitely not be able to deal with me at this time. Because Chen Fei Gong was scared by me last time, and now Sanbai can't help him, he began to panic in fear when he looked at me. Chen Fei Gong, I'll see who can save you this time. This time, we're going to settle the old accounts together. I carried the baseball bat in my hand and said viciously to Chen Fei Gong. Chen Fei Gong saw that Sanbai really couldn't spare his hands to help him, so he immediately took 2 steps back in fright, and then threatened me with a look of fear. Zhang Yuan, you'd better think about it clearly. If something happens to me, my dad won't spare you. Your dad? Your dad has been taught a lesson by my uncle Hua, and Lao Tzu will still care about your current threats. If Qian Million still dares to bully the small, I believe that Uncle Hua will definitely clean him up. Chen Fei Gong's current threat is a fart to me. This time it is the King of Heaven. Lao Tzu is coming, and I will definitely clean him up this shit. I didn't talk nonsense. The baseball bat in my hand slammed into him. Chen Fei Gong was so frightened that he hurriedly dodged to the side, knocked down the barbecue table next to him, and tripped over his left leg and fell to the ground. He looked at the baseball bat I picked up and was about to get up, and I picked up the stick and immediately beckoned to his head. Chen Fei Gong was so frightened that he immediately blocked it with his hand, but as soon as the stick hit his arm, he immediately screamed miserably like a pig. Qin Ranxue kept cheering for me on the side. Zhang Yuan, kill this dog to Musia, get angry with Musia, and beat him. At this time, the three cakes hurriedly forgot to come over to this side, but he was so distracted. Chao Kong was immediately given a vacancy, and Chao Kong picked up a barbecue table on the ground and hit the three cakes. Because the three cakes were paying attention to Chen Fei Gong just now. By the time he could react, the table had already slapped against his body, and his body immediately threw himself out and fell to the ground. And his white shirt was also covered in barbecue grease stains, which looked a little buried. Three cakes, you dare not be serious when you fight with Lao Tzu. You are too confident in yourself. Chao Kong scolded the three cakes, picked up the table and hit the three cakes on the ground again. Sanbai's eyes were cloudy, and he immediately came to the ground with a crushing carp to fight him, got up directly from the ground, and kicked out the table that was coming at him. Little bastard, don't fucking mess with Lao Tzu, or Lao Tzu will shave you. At this time, the old bastard temperament on the three cakes also came out, and he said to Chao Kong with cold eyes. Yo, you really think I'm scared? Come on, Lao Tzu will accompany you through a few more moves. Chao Kong picked up the table on the ground again, and said with a look of awesomeness to the three cakes opposite. At this time, I also hurriedly picked up the baseball bat and smashed it against Chen Fei Gong on the ground. Chen Fei Gong hurriedly blocked with his left hand, blocked it and hurriedly used his right hand. He screamed again and again every time he blocked, and the scene was like killing pigs. Zhang Yuan, you let me go. If you let me go, I'll tell you a secret. Really, this is a secret that you must be curious to know. Chen Fei Gong stopped me from turning the baseball bat at him and screamed miserably, so he hurriedly said to me. I gasped and glanced at him. He still had secrets? Say. I hung the baseball bat in my hand on the ground and said to him in a cold tone. Chen Fei Gong looked at me with fear. His nose was bleeding, and the white suit on his body was full of oil stains, and he said to me very embarrassed, actually, the video I gave to Sanbiu before was made by someone else, but in fact, I didn't have anything to do with Musia at all. Yes, I do like her, and I have thought about threatening her with work and asking her to promise me to support her. But Musia not only didn't agree, but immediately scolded me. I've always been upset that she wants to take revenge on her, so I keep slandering her, and I found someone to make that video before I was angry with you. I know you like her, so I just wanted to hit you with this. Actually, Zhang Yuan, there is no contradiction between me and you. I did humiliate you before, but you also sent me to the hospital before. Now that you've beaten me up again, the grudge between us should be settled. And if you do hurt me, my dad will definitely clean you up. You're just a little driver, and you can't get my dad. Don't think that last time you had the boss of China Resources to help you, you could fight against my dad. The last time he helped you was just because I smashed his car, and you have nothing to do with him. If you dare to hurt me this time, and my dad deals with you, he will definitely not help you. So let's even settle it this time. If you let me go this time, I won't trouble you again in the future. I didn't expect Chen Fei Gong to be so despicable and make a video like that to hit me. I almost misunderstood Musia because of this before. If Qin Ranxue hadn't persuaded me, maybe I would have hated her all the time. It turned out to be all a hole dug by this dog's day. My face immediately grew even angrier. He thought that Uncle Hua helped me last time because he smashed Uncle Hua's car last time, but he didn't know that Uncle Hua was my uncle, and the last time he spent millions in the tea house, it was just an excuse to help me get angry. Even if Qian Fei Gong didn't smash the Mercedes-Benz, Uncle Hua would also help me clean up his father's millions. How the hell did you send 3 cakes to pierce my legs? How do you settle this account? You affected Musia's reputation and almost misunderstood him. How can this account be calculated? Also, you are so ugly that you polluted my eyes and made me lose my appetite tonight. How can this account be calculated? If you want to settle down, you can let Lao Tzu lie down in the hospital for a few months, and our affairs will be settled. I yelled at him, picked up the baseball bat and slammed it down on his body. Qian Fei Gong immediately cried wolf again. Wow, Zhang Yuan, you are so handsome. Yes, it's so ugly, it's a waste of air to live, and it's a waste of land to die. Beat him to death. Qin Ranxue shouted to me very excitedly on the side. Seeing her so excited, I almost gave her a baseball bat and let her do it herself. Qian Fei Gan was beaten by me and lay on the ground, which was already more in and less in and out of gas. On the other hand, the 3 cakes saw that Qian Fei Gan was beaten like this by me, and he was also serious. He took out a dagger directly from the bag and stabbed it at Chao Kang's chest. Chao Kang immediately used the barbecue table to block it, and the 3 cake hands immediately reversed, and the dagger in his hand immediately made a cut on the back of Chao Kang's hand, and blood continued to flow out of his palm. And Chao Kang's face was angry. He took the barbecue table and pushed it towards Sanbai, kicking Sanbai's thigh. The 3 cakes were in pain, and the dagger in his hand slashed at Chao Kang's face, and the cold blade quickly slashed at Chao Kang's face. Chao Kang immediately lifted the barbecue table in his hand, and immediately hit the hand holding the dagger upward, but the dagger still cut Chao Kang's cheek, and a wisp of blood oozed out of the wound on Chao Kang's face. As soon as Sanbai's hand with the dagger was opened by the barbecue table, he immediately kicked Chao Kang in the stomach, kicking Chao Kang out and hitting a barbecue table. And the barbecue table he was holding in his hand also fell to the ground. Little bastard of dog days, I really think I can't do anything about you. Sanbai scolded with a gloomy face, and immediately rushed over, kicking Chao Kang's body lying on the barbecue table with a sharp kick. Chao Kang immediately rolled to the ground. Qin Ranxue shouted Chao Kang worriedly. I immediately took the baseball bat and was about to go over to help Chao Kang, but the 3 cakes took the dagger and slashed at my hand holding the baseball bat, and as soon as my hand hurt, the stick in my hand immediately fell to the ground. Sanbai kicked me directly down the thigh in 3 ways, and I immediately fell to the ground. Sanbai looked coldly at me lying on the ground with a dagger. He walked over and picked up a bottle of beer, bit the lid and poured a few sips, and then the beer bottle was facing down, and the beer inside flowed directly down and hit my head. I immediately tried to get up, but the 3 cakes held the beer bottleneck and smashed the beer bottle on my head. The beer bottle immediately shattered, and I fell to the ground again. A very dizzy feeling came from my head, and I felt a warm current flowing down my head. Zhang Yuan. Qin Ranxue shouted at me, and immediately came over to help. But the 3 cakes were playing with the dagger in their hands, and they looked at her with cold eyes. Qin Ranxue was immediately frightened. She stood there in fright and didn't dare to rush over. And at this moment, an angry roar sounded, and Chao Kang slammed into the back of Sanbi with a wooden stool, and Sanbiku slammed forward 2 steps, and then showed a cruel expression on his face. The dagger in his hand was inserted into Chao Kang's arm, and the dagger directly pierced Chao Kang's arm. Chao Kang shouted in pain, and Sanbai immediately pulled out the dagger. Chao Kang's face was full of pain, and he hurriedly covered his hands to block in front of me. At this moment, a large group of people came from the fork in the road on the other side. Leading the way is a flat-headed fat man, dressed in loose shorts and shorts, with a large gold chain hanging from his chest, and a scantily clad sexy woman exposed in his hands. And the thick arm that was wrapped around the shoulder of that sexy woman was full of dense tattoos. At first glance, he is an old bastard, and he is followed by a group of little bastards with permed explosive heads, dyed hair of various colors, and tattoos of various colors with steel pipes. Sanwan looked at them with a dagger in his hand, and said lightly, "Finally here." Shin Ranchue hurriedly came over and helped me to the side, and Chao Kong also stood beside us with his hands covered, his hands still bleeding. Shin Ranchue hurriedly took out the paper and asked him to cover the wound. Sanbai glanced at us and said to us with a grim expression, "You little boys will clean them up when I finish cleaning up here, you can't run away." At this time, my head was very painful, and Shin Ranchue took a paper and gently wiped the blood that flowed from my head to my face. While wiping, she whispered anxiously to me, "Zhang Yuan, you better hurry up and call the KTV boss, otherwise we will fold here tonight." At this time, my head was very dizzy, and the dizziness was constantly pounding against my brain. But I still heard Shin Ranchue's words clearly, and I struggled to sneak my hand into the court and held the phone. "Now we can only call Uncle Hua and Uncle Chow. This kind of old bastard is indeed not something we can deal with, so we can only let them help. Some people may think that it is shameful for me to ask Uncle Hua for help every time I encounter something, but after all, he is my uncle, my relative, and I can only find Uncle Hua if I can't solve it. I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of. After all, I am a family with him, and he said that I was bullied outside, and he will definitely help me get back to the field." But when I saw the gang coming, I still didn't touch my phone. Because the way they look is not good, they are likely to have come to trouble the 3 loaves. There are so many of them, even if the 3 cakes are so powerful to deal with so many people, he will definitely not be able to bear it. So I'm going to see the situation and call Uncle Hua. 3 cakes, you are a big dog day, not only dare to come back, but also dare to ask Lao Tzu to come out to meet. You are not afraid that Lao Tzu will kill you or call the police to arrest you this dog day. The fat man who took the lead showed the sexy woman, and scolded the 3 cakes very imposingly before he got closer. Sanbai put the dagger in his hand into his pocket. He walked over and helped Xian Fei Gong on the ground up, then took a cigarette in his mouth and smoked it, looked at the fat man and said, "White Knife, since I dare to call you over, then Lao Tzu must have the ability to clean you up. I think the old archway is also a waste in your hands, you might as well give it to Lao Tzu. Maybe Lao Tzu will reward you with a bite to eat if he is in a good mood." The White Knife reached out and touched the flat head on his head, and then the fat hands grabbed the sexy woman's naked chest fiercely, causing the woman to snort for a while. He smiled heartily, hugged the sexy woman's expression and immediately looked at the 3 cakes fiercely and said, "What the are you for? You're just a wanted criminal now, and I'm going to kill you like I'm playing. And Lao Tzu only has one phone call to say that you are here, then you are going to go in for tea. You still fucking want Lao Tzu's old archway, are you big enough?" After he finished speaking, he looked at the sexy woman in his arms again, and said with a smile, "Tell him, my cock is not big." The sexy woman slapped the White Knife's chest shyly, and said coquettishly, "Of course you're the biggest, and you can't stand it every night." They are really social people, and they are not embarrassed at all when such explicit words are said casually. Bai Dao laughed a few times, and a big fat hand reached directly through the sexy woman's chest and rubbed it hard, causing the sexy woman to snort again. This kind of woman is so fucking shameless. Qin Ranchue said with a look of disdain beside her. "White Knife, I didn't expect you to be such a beast after so long. Treat the woman who follows you like a dog, think about the day, and throw it away when the day is enough. People like you can't do big things, but I heard that the mountain leopard on Baichuan Road has been thinking about your old archway for a long time, and he has been recruiting troops recently to prepare to lie down on your old archway. I don't think you can stand it, so it's better to hand over the old archway to me, and I'll fight him." Sanbai smoked a cigarette and said to Bai Dao with a flat face. Bai Dao was immediately a little angry, but he was also an old man, and his angry expression was fleeting on his face, and he said to the 3 cakes with a fierce expression, "I didn't expect you to call Lao Tzu over tonight to take Lao Tzu's old archway. 3 cakes, Lao Tzu told you that the old archway is all my Lao Tzu's belongings, and whoever dares to reach out to Lao Tzu will chop his hand. Sooner or later, Lao Tzu of the mountain leopard will clean him up. As for your dog day, since you are here today, then you can fucking leave Lao Tzu here. Him for me." The White Knife slammed into the sexy woman in his arms. He raised his hand with a fierce expression, and the thugs behind him immediately rushed towards the 3 cakes with steel pipes. Qin Ranchue hurriedly pulled us back, afraid that they would hurt us by mistake. Sanbai ignored the little thug who rushed over with a steel pipe, and he looked at the White Knife with a mocking expression on his face. He took a sharp drag on the cigarette in his mouth, then spat the end of the cigarette to the side, and he rushed towards the thugs with his bare hands. He rushed up to the thug with an elbow on the neck, and the thug fell to the ground instantly. And at this time, a thug held the steel pipe and hit the back of the three cakes. The three cakes kicked him to the ground with a sharp kick, and then grabbed a person's hand, and the backhand used the steel pipe in his hand to block the steel pipe that another person hit on his head, and he kicked the person to the ground, and the backhand punched him to the chest that grabbed the person, and the little gangster squirted a mouthful of bitter water in his mouth and immediately fell to the ground. When the others saw that the three cakes were so fierce, they immediately dared not go up. But the white knife stood behind them, and although they were afraid, they still held the steel pipe and smashed it down on the three cakes. Although the three cakes are particularly awesome, they can't stand the number of them, and the three cakes have been hit several times, and blood has flowed down from the nose. Sandbai didn't care. He rushed straight up, grabbed a thug's neck with his arm, he grabbed the thug and threw it at a few thugs on the side, and the thugs hurriedly retreated. And then the three cakes went up and grabbed the thug by the neck, and threw him out violently. What a fucking bunch of shit. Seeing that he couldn't even beat a single three cakes with so many of his subordinates, Bai Dao immediately scolded angrily. He shouted three cakes violently, rushed over and smashed them into the face with a punch, and the three cakes flew out directly by his punch. After all, the tonnage of the white knife is not white and long, and the three cakes are no different from a thin monkey in front of him. The three cakes flew out, and when he was about to land, he stood up with his palm on the ground and stabilized his body. Seeing that the three cakes were not the opponents of their boss, the white knife's subordinates immediately had motivation in their hearts, and they rushed towards the three cakes with steel pipes. Sandbai reached out and wiped the blood from his nose, and with a grim face, he reached into his pocket and took out the dagger in his pocket.